I've been appointed to represent Mr. Gendron, and I accept that appointment. As far as any further reading of the felony complaint, I would waive that at this point and enter a plea of not guilty on behalf of my client.
Thank you.
10 people were killed at a supermarket in Buffalo on Saturday by a suspect in military gear who was live streaming the attack. The shooting occurred Saturday afternoon at Tops Friendly Market. The suspect in the shooting, a white male, is in custody, police say. He was identified as Payton, Gendron, and pleaded not guilty to his charges. The Buffalo Police Commissioner said the suspect drove to the Tops Friendly Market store around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
At approximately 2:30 today, an individual who the mayor stated is not from this area and is from hours away drove to Buffalo, went to 1275 Jefferson Avenue to the Tops Market. He exited his vehicle. He was very heavily armed. He had tactical gear. He had a tactical helmet on. He had a camera that he was live streaming what he was doing. The individual exited his car and engaged 4 individuals. He shot 4 people in the parking lot. 3 of those were deceased. 1 individual at this time is surviving the injury. The individual went inside. As I said, he's an 18-year-old white male, walked into the store and began engaging customers inside the store. One of the individuals inside the store is a security guard, a beloved security guard, who is a retired Buffalo police officer, a hero in our eyes, engaged the suspect, fired multiple shots, struck the suspect, but because he had heavily armored plating on, that bullet had no round. The suspect engaged our retired officer, and he was ultimately shot and deceased at the scene. He continued to work his way through the store. Ultimately, he worked his way back towards the front of the store. Buffalo police immediately respond, engage the suspect in the vestibule of the store, and at that point, the suspect put the gun to his own. Buffalo police personnel, 2 patrol officers, talked the suspect into dropping the gun. He dropped the gun, took off some of his tactical gear, surrendered at that point, and he was led outside, put in a police car, and transported to Buffalo Police Headquarters.
Out of 13 victims, 11 are black, while 2 are white, according to the police. However, the FBI made it clear that this incident is being investigated as a hate crime.
We have evidence that this potentially was racially motivated. We have evidence that potentially may lead us to a terrorism charge. There is a penal law in New York State that is entitled a domestic act of terrorism motivated by race. That carries with it the same A1 felony level that the murder in the first degree gives us as well. But that charge also gives us a life without parole a sentence. So that is being investigated as we speak with regard to the terrorism action of this and in regard to the racially motivated aspect of this.
Twitch, the popular live streaming platform best known for gaming, confirmed on Saturday that the suspect did indeed use their platform to stream. They said the suspect has been indefinitely suspended from their platform. They also said that the company removed the live stream less than 2 minutes after the violence started. The 18-year-old suspect was arraigned Saturday evening in Buffalo City Court. The suspect was charged with first-degree murder, in which he pleaded not guilty.
State your appearances for the record.
Gary Hackbush on behalf of the people, and Brian Parker on behalf of Mr. Gendron.
Mr. Gendron, you've been charged with multiple counts of murder in the first degree, contrary to section 125-27 of the penal law. There should be a copy of the charges in front of you. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you need me to read the charges to you, or do you understand your charges?
I understand my charges.
Okay. And can you afford an attorney?
No.
Mr. Parker?
Judge, I've been appointed to represent Mr. Gendron, and I accept that appointment. Okay. As far as any further reading of the felony complaint, I would waive that at this point and enter a plea of not guilty on behalf of my client.
Thank you. Mr. Hackbush, you'd like to be heard, correct?
Yes, sir. We would respectfully request that the defendant be remanded without bail. I'd also like to let the court know that the people intend to present this directly to the grand jury, and we are providing the defendant orally their notice pursuant to 190-50.
His next court appearance is scheduled for Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm Trini Ross. I'm the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York. I want to start by saying my thoughts and heartfelt prayers go to the family, the victims, and the community that had to suffer this great and unnecessary tragedy today. We're working with our state, federal, and local law enforcement partners, as you've already heard from, to ensure that justice is brought to this community, to those victims, to their families.
It's hard to know what to say. This is my community. I know this community well. I've walked these streets. I know the individuals who live here. It's a wonderful, tight-knit neighborhood. And to see that sense of security shattered by an individual, a white supremacist who has engaged in an act of terrorism and will be prosecuted as such.
This is the worst nightmare that any community can face. And we are hurting and we are seething right now as a community. The depth of pain that families are feeling and that all of us are feeling right now cannot even be explained.
Top Friendly Market released a statement following the shooting saying they're shocked and deeply saddened. We appreciate the quick response by the local law enforcement in providing all available resources to assist authorities in the ongoing investigation. People who worked for the company came out to speak, including the operations manager who was there to witness.
This is Chanel Harris, and you're an operation manager at Tops. Can you tell me what you experienced?
Well, I experienced today when I was in the store. I was working, and
what were you doing?
Putting up groceries, and heard a noise. Then I got louder and closer, and everybody started running towards the back. I got stumbled a few times before I was able to get out. And by the time I got out, I ran around the front of the building, experienced someone getting shot, and I ran back because I was looking for my daughter. Found my daughter, but we both okay.
Okay, so your daughter, what does she do there?
She's she worked as a grocery clerk.
Okay, as a grocery. Did you see the shooter?
I seen him.
What did he look like?
He had army fatigue stuff on, and he was dressed like he was dressed for army, in the army.
So, with
white
tall,
male.
white male.
White male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, so how did you escape?
Through the back door.
Okay. And you said you fell a couple times trying to get out.
I got stumbled a couple of times.
And there were, how full was the store?
It was full. It was full this weekend. It was full. Today was packed. So it's,
And you said someone was shot in front of you?
I witnessed one of them. Yes.
Obviously, these essential workers, come to work every day and they just want to serve the community and, get a paycheck. And they have to put up with this craziness, and it's horrible. And our thoughts from our president, Frank DeRiso, he wanted me to make sure that the workers know that we're behind them and we support them, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure they get through this safely. Make sure that we enhance whatever protection the workers need here. It's a dark day for grocery store workers, and it needs to change. When you work for a grocery store in Buffalo, you've been around a while, you know everybody. Mm-hmm. It's a small universe of people.
Mark, what are you hearing about what happened inside?
I hear that somebody came in, heavily armed, just walked in and started shooting. I spoke to one of the workers on my way here, and she said that her family members are calling her and her coworkers, and it was just like something out of a war movie. I'm not going to speculate, but it seemed like somebody came here, on a mission.
According to reports, a man talked to him a day before the incident occurred, and according to him, the suspect seemed like a genius.
That you actually spoke with the suspect yesterday. He was here. Tell me more about that.
I seen him, and he looked strange in the neighborhood, but he had a genius shirt on, so I wanted to see if he was a genius. And we sat and talked about string theory, critical race theory, beginning of civilization, and he seemed like he was a genius, actually. He said he came up just to see the countryside, and he was going to go out camping. He bought a jug of water. He had a little nervous twitch to him. I bought him something to drink, and we sat and talked for about an hour and 45 minutes after seeing the pictures and seeing the blue car that I seen him got into yesterday. So it's a shock right now, and he told me his name was Payton. So it's a shock.
According to Raw Story, this incident came less than 8 months after a local newspaper scolded a Republican congresswoman for pushing the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. In September of 2021, the newspaper editorial wrote about the conspiracy theory. Prior to the incident, the suspect reportedly posted a 106-page document citing the Great Replacement conspiracy theory as motivation. At this time, police are holding the majority of the victims' names. However, one of the first victims known to the public is a young lady's grandmother who just recently celebrated her birthday, and she's completely devastated. This story is still developing. Keep looking out for more updates.